morning, folks. It's Annie with Manor Farms Homestead. We're going to just do a quick overview of the fall garden. It's September 25th, and we've got wood stacked up here on the porch. Not that we need it yet because it's still very hot here in Alabama. It's cooled off a little bit. We're getting some 50-degree weather at night and only getting into the high 80s during the day. So my husband was actually cleaning out the woodshed and stacking some fresh wood, so he brought our seasoned wood up here on the porch that we'll be burning this winter as our primary heat source with our wood stove in the house. We've gotten all of the beds around the house cleaned out and remulched for the winter. This is our gourd collection. The gourds that had taken over this bed back here produced a lot of the bird nest gourds, so the kids are actually going to decorate those for Halloween instead of pumpkins this year. They may get some pumpkins as well. We've cleaned out this bed. Typically I use this all summer. We did not use it this summer because the gourds were all in here. I'll get it cleaned out. We're actually going to probably put strawberries back here this winter. I've ordered quite a few strawberry bushes, so or strawberry plugs, so we'll get those probably all the way around the house. This bed did have strawberries in the spring, but the gourds took it over, so all of those died back. But again, like I said, we've got strawberries ordered, so that'll get filled up with some Chandler Juneberry strawberries when those come in. And then just looking back down through there, we still have some marigolds. They're making flowers. Still some watermelon plants over here. These really didn't do very much this year, but it looks like they're still kind of providing a little ground cover in there. We'll clean those out after frost. Coming on around, we had several zinnia plants over here that did great this year. They're kind of dying back at this point. I'll definitely save some seeds from these to replant next year. I love zinnias in flower beds that have kind of a high side, because they do get really tall, so they do well with a lot of sun and in kind of a deep bed. This is where I had all of my strawberries this last season, and it got really overrun with weeds. I didn't have time to deal with it because I was dealing with my summer garden and a lot of tomato canning and such. So most of these plants died back. In fact, just about all of my June bearers, minus maybe 2 or 3 plants, died back. I do have a few of the everbearing that made it over here, but again, this whole area we've got mulched well, and we'll get our strawberry plugs in here when they ship out in late October. And in this part of the beds, I had a lot of pepper plants. I've let my cows and sheep into the area just to get the last of the nice green grass out here before we end up getting a frost in October. And they've kind of gotten in here and done a number on my pepper plants, but it's okay. We've put up so many peppers this year, I'm kind of peppered out at this point. This area too, just based on the number of strawberry plants I ordered and wanting to space them a little bit farther apart than what I did last year, I'll probably fill this whole area through here up with strawberry plants in about a month. And the baby doll sheep, getting some of that good grass. Sansa. And then a couple of the jerseys back there on the fill lines, getting that good tender green grass that grows well. They know where to go when I let them in the front yard. Just some more zinnias. I believe that's one plant, and it just took off and really did well there. A few little walking onions. Back over here to our herb bed, we've got chives in there that have seeded out, so I'll collect some of those seeds, replant some of those for this next year. All of the basil is really going to seed. Definitely will be collecting some of those seed, and a lot of it will actually reseed itself through there. The oregano, the sage. This sage has been here a couple of years now. It just doesn't die in the winter and kind of keeps growing new little areas. Got a little bit of lemon balm that came up over here. Now out here on the patio, we've got our citrus and olives and kiwi plants. This is a little key lime plant that's kind of loaded down with limes at this point. Hopefully they will reach a point where they're mature before frost, because we will need to get these in off of this little patio and into some covered shelter for the winter. Olive tree. I'm hoping my olive trees will actually make next year. And this is a Persian lime. It was late to put on fruit, so it's got some little tiny limes on here right now. I don't know that they will mature before this has to be pulled in out of the nice weather out here. And this is our mandarin. I've shown you these frequently throughout the year, and they're getting large, starting to turn orange. So I'm hopeful in about another couple of weeks these will be ready. We've got our kiwi plants. Now my goal for these kiwi plants was for them to grow up onto this pergola and cover the top, but I've found that they really don't have enough rooting space in these pots that I have them in. So we're actually going to transplant these this late winter. I've got a spot down in my garden that we're going to put these in where they can run and root into the ground so that they'll have more space to actually develop enough canopy that hopefully they'll put out some fruit next year. And this is our lemon tree. Lots of beautiful little lemons on there. Just now starting to turn a little bit yellow, so they should be ready by the time we actually have to pull these in. Alright, we're going to get over here to the main raised bed garden area. These are all sweet potatoes. I harvested my sweet potatoes at the end of August last year. We're getting towards the end of September now. So these have been in the ground about a month longer than my sweet potatoes last year. It's a smaller area than what I did last year. So I'll definitely do a video when we harvest these. Hopefully in the next week or two we'll have a chance to get out here and get these up. This is all loofah gourd. And my plan was to make dish sponges. Had a lot of them that have gotten ready that were on the ground and kind of rotted. I need to get out here and do something with these, but I have not had the time to even mess with these. But I mean, they just keep running, keep putting on flowers, and keep growing more of them. And I guess they'll do that until frost hits. I found that the pollinators really love these flowers, so we have lots of little bees out here in the garden pollinating those. Got a few broccoli plants out here in the garden. Looks like somebody dug them a hole. And it looks like a little potato plant coming up from where a potato got left in here in the spring. I actually have quite a few little volunteer potato plants from that same situation. This really is just taken over with the loofah gourds. There was a couple of pepper plants in there. Just end of season stuff that needs to be cleaned out. Over here I have a potato, half a potato bed, and I've planted cabbage in here, not cabbage, lettuce in here. So that's just now starting to come up. I planted it a couple of times, but we were so hot in late August that most of the seeds and stuff that I planted just did not germinate, did not come up. And we were having almost 100-degree weather. It was pretty miserable in late August, early September through here. Little kale plant, that was a transplant, and again I had planted several things around it that just really didn't come up. I do have some English peas that I've planted alongside the trellises that are starting to pop up. And some beds that just had peppers that we need to get cleaned out shortly. Lots of turmeric and ginger plants in through here in the buckets. More broccoli plants. I've got a rutabaga there. And again, these were transplants that I put in back in August. You can see some potatoes in through there that were just volunteers from Potatoes Left Behind. And this was a little radish bed. A few beans that came back up from the beans that were in there this summer. I'm just letting them grow and put nitrogen in the soil until frost. Some onion plants. Alright, Allison. And we've got some compost at the end of this bed. That's where I cleaned out all of my bean beds, and I've just let it go to compost. A few little carrots on this side. I planted onions on this side, but again, onions did not really come up, did not do anything hardly. Had one pack that germinated, the other pack barely. I didn't honestly see anything that came up. This is mostly overtaken by potato plants that are volunteers, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. I'm just letting them grow. This is where I planted all of my onions, and you can see a few onions coming up, but most of my onions didn't germinate. Just a really, really poor germination on those, and I feel like it just got so hot that I wasn't able to keep these beds moist enough to spike water in them a couple of times a day. We'll end up ordering some onion starts from probably Dixondale to get here in November to plant. This is an intentional potato bed, and it doesn't look any better, honestly, than some of my volunteer beds. There's a couple of bean plants in there. Again, those just popped up from where some beans had gone to seed, and I'm just leaving them for now. Some more broccoli plants. That one needs to be sprinkled with a little BT. It looks like some caterpillars are eating it. Little volunteer cucumber, and we should have some more cucumbers on this. Yeah, nice little eating cucumbers. I don't have enough to make pickles off of this one plant, so I'll let these, yeah, here's a good eating size one. So I'll let them get up about that size, and we'll pick them and eat them on salads. But it's nice to have a few fresh cucumbers at the end of the year. These were carrot beds that have also not done well. Go back to I'm saying it again. Most of what I planted in early mid-August just didn't germinate, didn't come up well. Carrots can be a little finicky, and if they get a little bit dry, they may germinate briefly, but they'll die back really quickly if the soil is not moist. So that's probably the most of what happened in here. I've got a few little carrots. I have a lot of cilantro coming up in here, which I'm not going to complain about. This is all volunteer from where I let some cilantro plants go to seed. I'm actually going to let this just kind of take over these beds for now. And then I'm going to freeze all of my cilantro so that I have it next year when I'm making salsa. Because cilantro is a cool weather plant, and tomatoes are hot weather plants, but they go good together in salsa. So I did not have any cilantro this year making salsa, so I would like to have that. Cilantro doesn't taste the same if you dry it, so I'm going to blend it up and freeze it in little ice cube trays so that I'll have it next summer when I make that rooster again. I have it next year whenever I'm making salsa. Got a few beets in through here. Just some pepper plants that are about played out at this point. And we have these beds over here that I had peppers and tomatoes in last year. They're overgrown. We're going to get in there and mulch these down good for the winter so that we have them ready to go in the spring. Same over here, overgrown, but it does have felt down under there, so all of those weeds will be pretty easy to pull out of there. Now we're going to go back here to the back beds. This was the summer garden that had tomatoes and peppers back here and corn. So we've let the animals in through here and they cleaned it out really well. These beds Alright guys, that's enough. Let me talk. These beds we will close the chickens off from shortly. Well, not shortly. So the roosters are in competition on who's going to crow the loudest. These beds I'm going to actually plant onions in over the winter. So the onion starts that I ordered in the next month will all go out here. I need to throw down probably some hairy vetch to grow up in through here as a ground cover for the winter in this little area. We did have 3 Katahdin rams, a couple of calves, and then a couple of baby doll sheep over in this area. The rams have gone to slaughter now, and the calves have been moved. So the only thing over here right now is chickens. We have 2 little baby doll lambs over here. That is the gist of the beginnings of the fall garden. Probably the next garden video will be on harvesting those sweet potatoes. May do one when I harvest all of the turmeric as well. The turmeric this year I'm going to dehydrate and grind up. I don't really use a lot of fresh turmeric, but I do use turmeric in the ground dehydrated state, so that's probably what we'll do with this year.